Members of Mahasangha, Venerable Bhikkhunis, President of the Servants of the Buddha, Professor Manori Senanayak, Chairperson, Dr. Kohli, Professor Kohli, the Silva. Dear friends in Dham, today I am going to talk to you on sense impressions. The Pali word for sense impressions is phassa. The closest English term for phassa is contact. According to Buddha Dhamma, there are 6 sense impressions. These 6 sense impressions are seeing with the eye, chakku sampassa, hearing with the ear, sota sampassa, smelling with the nose, gana sampassa, tasting with the tongue, jivha sampassa, touching with the body, kaya sampassa, perceiving with the mind, mano sampassa. Of these 6 sense impressions, the first 5 are dealing with the external world. And the last one, the mano sampassa, or perceiving through the mind, deals with the internal or the inner world. During all wakeful moments, that is when we are awake, sense impressions do occur relentlessly, one after the other. When we are awake, we see, we hear, we smell, taste, we touch, we perceive through the mind all the time. No sense impression lasts for any length of time. They rise and cease. That is the nature. So one after the other, the sense impressions rise and fall. If you give a scientific explanation, taking seeing as an example, we may understand this to some extent. If the eye is focused on a visual object in the relevant visual field, image of that object should fall on the inner part of the eye retina continuously and relentlessly. Images of this object fall on the retina one after the other at an unimaginable speed. To receive these images, the eye should prepare every time at a very rapid rate to receive the rapidly falling images on the retina. From this scientific explanation, now you can understand how impermanent the eye is and how impermanent the external object is, and also how impermanent the visual impression seeing is. According to Samma Sambuddha, all impermanent phenomena gives rise to dukkha. Formation of sense impressions is dependently originated. Let us take seeing again as the example for this. In the process of seeing, the body organ eye focuses on the visual object in the visual field. As the eye focuses on the visual field, the mind of seeing or chakku vijnana arises. The eye, visual object, and the mind of seeing come together to produce seeing. Tinnam Sangati Passo. If the eye is focused on a visual object, invariably seeing has to happen. This occurrence of seeing cannot be stopped by anybody. This shows that it's a phenomenon of seeing occurring due to the factors coming together. So that this is a paticca samuppanna phenomenon, dependently originated. There is no person involved here. It's just the factors coming together, and after a little while, the factors disperse and the sense impressions. Now let's see whether these sense impressions are of any use to a human being. They are useful for a Samma Sambuddha, for an Arahant, for a Seka Pudgala, for an ordinary Putujjana, as they are leading a life because they are born to this world. Sense impressions are, they are to make use. Even a Samma Sambuddha has to see, he has to hear, he has to smell, he has to taste, he has to touch, he has to perceive through the mind in order to discharge his normal duties. If we focus the attention to ourselves as Putujjanas, do we use the sense impressions for our day-to-day activities and to discharge our duties only? Or we go beyond that and seek delight in the sense impressions. To describe this aspect, now let's take sense impressions as a nutriment or a ahar. Samma Sambuddha mentioned that for a person who is born to this world leading a normal life and who is cycling in samsara is fed on four nutriments. These four nutriments are Kabalikara ahara or physical food, Phassa ahara or sense impressions, Manosanchetanika ahara or volitions, Vijnana ahara or the mind. Now you can see that Phassa or sense impressions or contacts are one of the four types of ahara. Any nutriment for that matter will feed and nourish something else. What do the sense impressions nourish? They nourish feelings. Tassa pachaya vedana. As a result of a sense impression, vedana or feeling occur. Some of the sense impressions cause pleasant feelings. Some others cause unpleasant feelings. Yet another group of sense impressions can lead to neither pleasant nor unpleasant feelings. Let's take seeing as an example. When some of the visual objects are seen, a pleasant feeling is generated. In the event of a pleasant feeling, a Putujjana will always get attached to that pleasant feeling. He will seek delight in that pleasant feeling. He will further cling on to the pleasant feeling. He will construct thoughts on the pleasant feeling. He will verbally express his pleasure when experiencing the pleasant feeling. He will physically approach, if possible, that pleasant feeling he experiences. So the Putujjana will reciprocally get attached to the sense impression that produce pleasurable feeling. Through this attachment, they go for more and more sense impressions that would produce pleasurable feelings. To produce more and more such sense impressions, the individual will spend time, spend money, work hard to earn those, to generate such sense impressions which will lead to pleasure. This greedy attachment to sense impressions is akusala, that produces all greedy minds, which are akusala minds. Sometimes, to obtain such sense impressions, they may perform unwholesome deeds. They may be punished for those. They may be caught. And those unwholesome deeds may result in birth in awful realms. Since the individual is attached to the sense impressions that produce pleasure, he will expect only pleasurable feelings to be generated through sense impressions in his life. He will refuse any of the unpleasant feelings caused by some sense impressions. That's not his expectation. That's not what he wants. He will refuse and reject these sense impressions with anger. Likewise, if neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling is generated by a sense impression, he would not like that also. Because his only hope, only wish is to generate pleasant feelings. So he will feel very bored about the neither pleasant nor unpleasant feelings generated by some sense impression. He'll refuse them totally and flatly. With this description, now you can understand how much the individual is drifted away from the normal situation. He, instead of making use of sense impressions for his day-to-day duties, what he does is something else, seeking delight continuously in sense impressions, thinking that the sense impressions should be enjoyed without dropping any of those. Now let's see how we should handle or deal with the sense impressions as Buddhist practitioner. Our fervent wish is to end samsara and get rid of samsaric cycle. Since our objective is very clear, we should not allow any obstacles, hindrances to stand on our way. Invariably, seeking delight in sense impressions is a hindrance to our emancipation. Handling or dealing with sense impressions is done in the Sila Samadhi Prajna format. This is the so-called Trisiksha in our Buddhist practice. Sila or virtue is first and foremost. Here we have to get trained to handle the sense impressions from moment to moment. The first step in that approach is understanding and learning that sense impressions, enjoying and seeking delight in sense impressions is a hindrance to our liberation. Then we must train ourselves to drop the habit of entertaining mind-born sense impressions. Those drive us for more and more pleasurable sense impressions in the future. When one doesn't have such great expectation, he can live in the present moment. The disciple should have a predetermination not to give in to the sense impressions when he will confront them. In the discourse on nutriments, Samma Sambuddha takes the example of the flayed cow. In this example, the cow is stripped of its skin from neck to its hooves, and then the cow is set free. Then Samma Sambuddha describes how tortuous it would be to the cow. Now it would rest upon many places. This will cause pain to it. This resting upon places will be the basis of pain. Likewise, Samma Sambuddha says, contact with the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind will lead to immense suffering if not properly dealt with. Samma Sambuddha advises the disciples in the event of occurrence of sense impressions to look at them and escape from them, reflecting on the flayed cow that suffers in pain whenever it comes in contact with wherever it rests. So, friends, this kind of escape from sense impressions with confidence, effort, and awareness amount to Sila. How should a disciple deal with sense impressions? By developing samadhi. When the disciple develops one-pointedness and absorbs in a jhana, none of the sense impressions will occur to him. For the first time, he experiences a great relief and a considerable happiness he had never experienced through sense impressions. When one is absorbed in a jhana, no unwholesome minds would be developed. Continuously, he will generate rupa-vachara wholesome minds. In a way, when the disciple is absorbed in a jhana, he is safe because he doesn't produce any akusala minds. But he still fuels the samsara through the production of kusala minds. Even before the time of Samma Sambuddha, some of the Sramana members of other teachings had the ability to attain these jhanas. They were of the opinion that jhanic absorption is the end point of all meditation. They were enjoying the jhanic comfort and happiness from time to time. When a disciple comes out of the jhana, he is back again in the sensual world. Samma Sambuddha advises his disciples to develop panya or the wisdom to a point that they see and comprehend the true nature of the world. By seeing and understanding the true nature of the world, the disciple eliminates all defilements. This is done through insight meditation or Satara Satipatthana. Those who have eliminated all the defilements are the Arahants, noble ones. They don't seek delight in sense impressions. They have no great expectation to entertain pleasant feeling. But during the day, they generate sense impressions when and where they are needed. Since they have eliminated tanha, ditthi, and mana, they will look at sense impressions as sense impressions only. They don't get attached or get clung onto sense impressions. But even the Arahants feel the best of sense impressions. In any of the sense impressions, they comprehend and understand all minute details. For an example, if you take the taste, an Arahant will taste something much better than others, but they don't go into enjoying the taste, or they don't get attached to the taste and clung on. Either a pleasant, unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant, whichever the feelings, their reaction will be the same. They will understand pleasant as pleasant, unpleasant as unpleasant, neither pleasant nor unpleasant as neither pleasant nor unpleasant. They will not react differently to these three feelings. It is very interesting to mention what Samma Sambuddha preached Malunke Buddha, the senior monk. In one discourse to him, Samma Sambuddha asks the Bhikkhu Malunka Buddha an interesting question. Samma Sambuddha asks, if a disciple has not seen a particular sense object in the past, and also if he is not seeing that object at this particular moment, also if he has no idea of seeing that object in the future, will he get attached to that visual object, Malunka Buddha? Bhikkhu Malunka Buddha gives the obvious answer, no Bhante. Then in a different sutta, Samma Sambuddha takes the same subject and tells Malunka Buddha Bhikkhu, whenever you come across, confront a sense object or a visual object, you behave as if you have never seen that, not seeing it now, or will not see it in the future. If you have that attitude, you will never get attached to that object. So, Dhamma friends, in conclusion, what we have to know is every one of us who is treading the path for liberation should deal with all sense impressions in the Sila Samadhi Pajna way. Namo Buddhaya. May all beings be well.